Lava at every turn. Game 2 between Afreeca Freecs and ROX Tigers. Let's see if we'll see a different strategy from ROX, because they kind of had their blind pick strategy left open and then were found left wanting.
Yeah, there was the answer being picked up from the Afreeca Freecs. Now it's going to be the Sejuani band once again. Spirit, of course, doesn't care about the meta jungle picks, so you may as well just ban them away so that he can feel free to pick up things like the Nidalee and, of course, the Jax that he did pull out to such great success that we were just talking about.
Yeah, they could get super personal on blue side, though, could ROX Tigers. In Game 1, Zoe Gnar, the Zoe ban was the big one, where they really showed a lot of respect specifically to Kuro's mastery of that. Looked great in his debut on the champion.
Could see a Galio ban come in here, and then Afreeca Freecs could angle themselves to that Zoe first pick if they'd like to. We haven't seen too many answers. I mean, the Syndra from Crown, you can understand the idea, but it straight up didn't work.
You see that Afreeca understand that because they're now on the blue side and they've revealed their Rise counter into Vladimir, it's too easy to answer here. Either they would have to first pick Rise, and it could certainly just be banned on the red side, or if they get later into the ban phase, they just won't have the bans to actually deal with the Vladimir. They don't want to pay it themselves. You see a ban come through. Does leave things like Gnar and GP available, which were banned by ROX Tigers in the previous game.
Now, we'll see whether one of them is actually opted in for here as far as the ban, but no, Kalista is going to hit the bench. Kramer has tried his hand at it, I believe, a couple of times, or at least once, if memory serves. Yeah, a couple of times, not with too much success. Did find one win. Now, final ban, what is it going to be? Azir standing out like a sore thumb, Rise there as well. With Azir and Rise both up, do you just ban the Braum? Do you ban something like that? I mean, Varus, Kog'Maw, also another option, but Galio is going to hit the bench. There's so many things. I'm going through, like, what are the priority picks, and there's, like, I don't have enough hands to count all of these champions.
My read was going to be Galio because Afreeca have shown they'll first pick Galio, and while Lava is comfortable on the Corki, after how the game previous went, they just didn't want to deal with Galio in the game at all if you're ROX Tigers, and I can understand that. Does mean, like you say, the first pick goes to, the double-edged sword of Azir for Kuro, 1-1 this season. Covered himself in glory with the first one. Second one, not so good.
So, you know, it's time for a win now. You know, you got only two options, and if the pattern's anything to go by.
50-50, but career win rate of 30% on the Azir.
And also, tough matchup if the Rise is going to be locked in here, and it is. Seen, of course, Faker punish many an Azir extraordinarily well, but there are Rise players and there are Rise players, so a bit of a test now for Lava.
Yeah, unlikely we'll be seeing a Rise top this game. Only seen it into Vlad, which is a good matchup for the Rise, and the Gnar, which is not a good matchup for the Rise, so expecting that one will be avoided. I think we will see some Gnar action in this particular game.
Well, it is going to be the Kha'Zix locked in for Songwon, one of our notable Kha'Zix players, actually. 2 out of 3 victories on the champ with a 9.3 KDA. The guy certainly has been getting some kills.
And the team, and he in particular, really smart at lane assignment when ganking with the cards. A lot of lane ganks topside, killing exactly this pirate. He's really good at training down gangplanks and killing him, so it's risky, but of course the tier list pick here is definitely going to be the gangplank. They're happy with the Gnar matchup, and there's no Vladimir to ruin his day completely.
With Kog'Maw available, considering the Varus, I feel like Kramer could go back to it. Has already had a fantastic performance on it thus far, but not going to opt into that. Of course, one of Sungyun's most played. Kramer has, of course, tried his hand, and everyone plays Varus, but taking it away from Sungyun is more of the option here.
I wonder if we'll see the Xayah from ROX Tigers come forward. We want this game, but Xayah's been a big pick for them in recent memory. 2-0 on it, but not a priority pick for any other AD carries, so they'll just drop the Xayah for now. Go for the Kog'Maw. So a while since we've seen Sungyun's Kog'Maw. Playing a lot of it last year when it was either Sungyun carries or we lose, the only strategy for ROX Tigers, and Lava leveling up has helped them to diversify their portfolio, as now Jax hits the ban list. So we're seeing the evolution of the Jax priority here in the LCK.
Well, it means they can't ban everything that Spirit can potentially play, and they're not going to be able to pick one of his junglers either, so Spirit will be able to play one of his coveted picks. I like the Nidalee, though, here, because they do have the Azir. I think it was you that was talking about it. Primal Surge. Primal Surge?
Yep, that's the ability name.
Whew, I almost just second-guessed myself. But yeah, that is just so incredibly good when you pair it up with an Azir.
I think it depends on full identity. If you don't have full information, then it's risky to take Italy into any Cogmore draft because you just end up kind of dying if they fight front to back.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a budget Nunu when it comes to the
Yeah, exactly.
8.2 Nunu at least with the Blood Boil, but that's a problem for a different week.
Yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of Guardian Nunus when he does debut. Not yet, thank God.
So what about top lane here? Going for some of the strongest laners, so Vladimir, Camille, and Jace all accounted for. What's your poison?
Ryzen are probably going to be the solo lane options here, but we'll see what Sungyun does want to lock in for Linderung, or if he wants to just pick a support, because certainly a lot of supports on the board as well, but with absolutely no bans going towards the support position, there are so many options. Braum's certainly the best one, but I mean, there's Taric, there's Tahm Kench, there's so many other options, and Ornn. They're going to flex it up. The ROX Tigers give themselves as much option when it comes to their final pick.
Big favorite for Key in the support role. We saw Mada rolling around on it yesterday, getting an MVP for KT Rolster, so support Ornn jumping out. But the problem with Ornn here in this spot is that Braum's still up, so you just lock Braum and you're like, well, not going to get any value out of that ultimate.
And we've been seeing, especially from KSV, the power of the Varus Braum lane. You were talking about it earlier on today.
Yeah, one of the other reasons that Varus is high priority, other than the meta favoring his Ragewave build, is that at level 6, he's a pick machine. He can just get a pick, and if you have damage from the jungle, Skarner's locked in, baby!
Oh, here we go! Spirit it's unique champion after unique champion. There's only one that he's played more than once, and it's Kha'Zix, and he hasn't won. So he's like, nope. Keep doing new ones. That's how we get the wins.
I'm a big fan of Skarner with the rework and the buff to his E, making his EW max possible. Didn't get a lot of success in Europe. That's the only region that's been playing it. There were bans in Europe last week. I was watching some games last night, very, very late into the night, and the Skarner wasn't getting the work done. We will be seeing Skarner here. Cool. We'll get to talk about what Skarner brings and what the buffs have changed about him as the game goes on, but very clear that between Varus, Skarner, and Braum, a lot of pick power here from Afreeca Freecs.
I like how you were talking about pick power, and then we go straight into a Skarner pickup, and it's like, oh wow, he segued himself really nicely into exactly what Afreeca Freecs are able to get done. But the Taric is going to be what the ROX Tigers go for as far as their answer, and I don't mind it. It does mean that they can get themselves into a better team fighting position, but as I think about it, I feel like Impale's pretty damn good against the Taric ultimate.
Yeah, I look at it, and while there is team fight options for the side of the ROX Tigers, it doesn't feel like they necessarily overwhelm those of Afreeca. And if you think about the best way to min-max this draft, skirmish, 2v2 is where they really are strongest. Avoiding things like the interaction between Braum and Ornn ultimate in team fights, taking advantage of how good Sungwon has been at laning face Kha'Zix. He's probably been the best in Korea this year at finding spots to actually get the snowball going. It's not been the 0-1-2 farming Kha'Zix. It's been the ganking Kha'Zix, finding a lot of success. But make a mistake. You fall behind and you try to have to buy a QSS when you don't have enough gold for your damage items. Kha'Zix won't be useful unless he really gets rolling in the early game.
Yeah, and getting rolling in the early game is certainly a possibility. Here with the draft that the ROX Tigers have put together, especially in their solo lanes, Ornn can push in GP very effectively in the early game. Ryze versus Azir is one that we've spoken about time and time again. There are options for the bottom lane, but it may not be the focus. Certainly a game that could go either way, but with the momentum that the Afreeca Freecs have, they should be able to get the work done. Guys, game number 2 and possibly the last of the night right now.
생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Hey, he actually said Skarner.
Nice.
Adorable from Spirit. Trying to block the top Crystal Spire here. There's a new mechanic we get to talk about, Crystal Spires.
Oh yeah, I love me some Crystal Spires.
How exciting.
I was a big Dominion fan.
Well, that's gone now. Atlas, sorry about that.
Whoopsies.
I like to think the crowd was laughing about my sick joke there.
I think they definitely were.
Yeah, definitely.
Or maybe they were laughing at Dominion.
Could be.
Which I could imagine a fair few people probably would.
So a lot of changes towards Skarner has made me a big fan of him in solo queue. I think he's a very, very powerful pick there. And I also thought, okay, I feel like he's got the tools for competitive play again. And if you're a casual fan, you might be like, why? Why Skarner? He's so binary. gets in there. QSS. Zara does nothing. What are we talking about?
Yep.
The buffs to his E. That's really where things, on first look, you're like, that's a big numbers change. Thing with his E, the Fracture, which is now your first max, is that E, when you throw it out, gives you physical auto attack damage or physical damage on any targets that are hit by the E, which is a slow. When you order them, the stun comes up. But more importantly than the stun, which has its duration increase. So 1 to 1.5 seconds, an extra half second of CC, especially in a meta with a lot of CC reduction like Merc Treads, that's a buff. But the extra 45 damage on the ability you max first is a lot. And it also speeds up your clear even more because every little monster takes an extra 55 damage or 45 damage as it goes on. So it's huge damage buff. It also frees you to not max Q, to go EW for the most mobility, tankiness, and also CC. Do
and
similar
attack
damage.
speed, yeah.
And do similar damage to before. So it's one of those things where it actually ends up being a multi-level buff that really makes him very viable. When it comes to invasions, that's a different story.
That's a difficult one, as blue buff already taken by Songwon. And Spirit actually going to be able, at least he has the Spire. Someone didn't want to go further.
Neither have Smite, and both of them aren't 100% sure what's going on, so it just leads to a full reset. The Spire's there, so mana sustain not going to be a problem for the Skarner. In vision still, but Kura's going to come help, so ultra safety here. Someone does have flash up, does have Smite up first.
Oh, he steals it. Songwon, this is why the man has done very, very well in the Kha'Zix. Knows what he can get done.
Ends up being a bit of greed from Spirit, who could have smited it himself, chose not to. Vision in. The brush was the big winner there, and so the speed is going to be slowed down. And while I'm a big fan of it in solo queue, seems like ROX have it well scouted. Most of the Spires are now owned by ROX, and you need those to have any semblance of mana sustain, and more importantly, jungle control for the Skarner, who still is not necessarily as level 6 focused as before. If you hit your max range E, or you hit E in general, you are a decent ganking threat, but let's be real, you want 6, and it's going to be denied for a little while. Now the Spirit lost his blue.
Yeah.
He went Predator, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, the boots charge? What's happening?
Yeah, first time we've seen Predator in competitive play. It's all about movement speed effect on your boots. This is all about turret dive.
Oh, that flash was so sick as Keen's in trouble. One more Q will be enough, and Linderong just tanks the turret exactly as many times as he needs to. ROX Tigers coming out of the gate, swinging here.
The AoE stun there. It actually hits on the charge up because it has a pretty big AoE when you hit the wall. It's not just 100 range. It feels like it's about 200. So even though he flashed over, charged into the turret, got the knock up, good kill enacted there. Skarner powerless to help because he's still behind in his jungle and only just got his Spire back to clear faster. Things are snowballing away from what was looking like a fun pick in the Skarner.
Yeah, and Kuro actually really going aggressive onto Lava. He falls down relatively low as well because minions do a fair bit of damage, but Spirit now just charging his way around.
Second point in Q, interesting. So maybe
different option.
I feel like the E is just so powerful now that not maxing it first is a surprise, but it could also just be a second point and then an eventual max into the E. Trying to get map control back. That's really where Skarner does shine. Now there's Songwon on this now trademark Kha'Zix pick. He's been one of our most impressive Kha'Zix players. Great timing. It's always Linderong and Songwon pulling off a turret dive or a lane gank on the Kha'Zix. And it's always deadly. The reliability is very high.
Yeah. Spirit now once again continuing to just claim the Spires. Songyun and Key checking in with the bottom lane. Is Kramer that's in the lead by just a little bit. A story that we've spoken about quite a few times. Kramer certainly lanes very, very well. Lava's going to make his way down towards the bottom side. Realm Walk is there, and they could do something real aggressive. It's Kramer and Tucson. They do understand what's going on. The Dazzle's flashed into, but it's Tucson that they catch up to. Good, Unbreakable, and the flash is there. And no worries at all. The Afreeca Freecs just lose a couple of flashes and an exhaust, but not their lives.
It's unbelievable value, though. Atlas, 3 summoners blown just for a flash from Key and the ultimate from Lava, and level 1 ultimate very rarely is used in any ganking scenarios, so sick play from the ROX Tigers. And the bot side, they already have a kill top side. This is a big lead out of nowhere by ROX Tigers.
Yeah. Hasn't really converted itself in the gold numbers or anything like that, but I certainly see exactly what you're talking about, because it's having this map control, the ability for Songwon to get ganks early as the Kha'Zix is so huge, and something he's shown that he knows exactly what to do with. So as far as what ROX want to be getting up to in the mid-game, they're setting themselves up for exactly what that's going to be. 30
lifetime games in the LCK for Skarner. Last time there was a real Skarner meta was a very long time ago. We're thinking to 2013. Tal Templar, one of our Korean casters, was one of our noted Skarner players.
Yeah.
In Korea, back when farm to level 6 junglers was pretty common. Game has evolved quite a lot since then.
He was pretty good at those, being the
Mumu
god
Skarner,
himself.
yeah. He'd be an ultimate tipster now, but definitely did work back in the day. Positive win rate, 57%. And just a Q-Max, very interesting. Would love to pick Spirit's brain about that, with E-Max dominating the ladder. Fiend's used his ultimate, just onto the lane, kind of smelling the turret dive. He saw Ignite change from Linderung, so he put 2 and 2 together.
But Spirit's going to be able to grab himself a blue buff. They answer back. Songwon's not going to be able to grab that, so I don't know whether the Vision spotted them. There's a cute little ward that probably saw Spirit moving away, so they may know exactly what's going on. Pings are coming down just to make sure that that blue can be secured as well. Songwon with a red buff might make it tough.
Smart that Tusin's re-invading, though. He needs to find some coverage, stop the turret dives from returning from the Kha'Zix, and also, like you mentioned, there's no guarantee they claim their own blue buff, because the Vision was traded between ROX and Afreeca. So once again, they need help. Last time this didn't work, because we saw a Smite steal from Songwon. He's trying again.
He's going to have to get a ward into this brush, though, as Tusin actually moves his way around. We've got an isolated Braum, though, as Spirit might actually be able to flash Impale here. Songwon going to be able to get in there, but Realm Warp's going to set Lava up. Spirit held on to that ultimate and decides instead that he just wants to run away, and Lava easily able to grab the second kill for the ROX Tigers. Interesting stuff. I just thought that the Impale was probably going to be at least utilized.
Wanted to use it in a proactive scenario where they could really secure a kill. Wasn't going to be this one. It ends up just meaning another death, this time on to Tusin. Less control for Afreeca, who already are falling behind pretty severely in terms of map pressure, and Keen dealing with a lot of harass in the top side. Not often does Oren take the role of aggressor in lane, but with the Ignite, with the Kha'Zix, seeing Linderung so confident to push up and attack onto this GP.
Yeah, also seeing it against a GP as well. I mean, this is where Ornn really has been able to shine. Oh, little puppy doesn't have any friends. Thankfully, Spirit's going to be able to help, because all of them will come back. He just takes down the little one.
Predator's not been a favorite on really any of the junglers in competitive play. Even on this particular champion, even on the Skarner. Very rarely do we see Predator taken at the highest level, but you understand the thought behind it. Massive burst of movement speed and extra burst onto your next ability, which is going to be an auto attack, or the Impale itself as you get into range. So theory here is this lane gank's especially going to be super powered.
Also, you know, Impale does decent damage at the same time, so getting a Predator proc onto Impale feels decent. You can see his cute little boots that he just purchased do have the little Predator sign. That's a cute one.
Very long cooldown in the early game, around 2 minutes, I believe. So
yeah.
Again, just about the lane ganks, mostly there. You probably can't Predator down lane with how good the vision control has been by Afreeca, and have any real hope of actually being able to enact a gank.
At least Spirit's able to claim a few of his spies. He's going to go back home now. Cinderhulk probably able to be purchased. And Songwon down on the bottom side now with his Evolve set up on the ultimate. He can just stay invisible for as long as he likes. Use this Scryer's Bloom to clear out the vision. That was something that the Afreeca Freecs were pretty good at. Game number 1 is controlling vision around the map, understanding exactly what they needed to get done, but this time ROX, they're the ones with the deep wards. They're the ones with shallow wards as well that are able to actually keep things working, and with all of this deep vision, Spires do not last very long.
Such a controlled display from ROX Tigers is just disseminating this. Late pick Skarner, just trying to really set the tone of the game, but no Impale 11 minutes in is usually a good sign that he's been trivialized.
Well, Songwon's just going to jump on top of Kuro, does use the cleanse, gets himself out of the way of the Rune Prison. A lot of damage. No flash expelled, though, so decent work by Kuro just to make sure that he kept a level head.
No map control at all in their red side jungle. Doesn't matter if you kill this control ward. We can see very plainly There's no other control. Feels like Keen has to use his ult basically off cooldown to stop him being turret dived. In the top side as well, as Kha'Zix had moved vision control from bot side to a bit of an effect on the top side. We'll also clear out this ward around the Rift Herald. ROX Tigers just kind of have good options everywhere. Do they want to start an objective? Do they want to turn to turret diving in the top side? They have basically full information of where Skarner is at in the game as well. So excellent early game jungling by Songwon, and a team effort as well, contesting the Spires like Lava was doing on the bottom side whenever they've been a chance to do so.
Yeah. Now I guess one of the good news stories is that bottom lane, they've hit their Rage Blade spikes. So Kramer and Tucson can utilize their ultimates, get themselves some potential picks. It hasn't been where Afreeca Freecs have been focusing. Sangyun, as I was starting to talk about it, went back and finished his Rage Blade as well. He's actually going to get his teleport happening. We got a spell book on this Kog'Maw as he gets towards the top side of the map. They want to get first brick as Songwon takes a lot of damage from Kuro, making his way back towards the top side of the map. But in goes the Ornn ultimate. The Rams come down. Songwon's in trouble, but that is a dead Spirit. Linderong is a man on a mission, doesn't get the knock-up. Good flash. And Keen's going to turn it around, try and get what he can done. Songwon able to just help out taking down this turret. And the ROX Tigers, this is looking so good. Unbreakable. That's named wrong, but the flash is going to come in, and I'm going to have to eat those words. Tucson is going to survive. Cosmic Radiance wasn't exactly utilized all that effectively, but it did mean that the ROX Tigers were still able to move forward.
The teleport from Sangyun was used effectively. Braum could never be there to counter-rotate as fast as the rotation by ROX and the teleport from the Kog'Maw, so they knew they were going to get maximum value from the Ornn ult, which in teamfights we know will largely be answered by Unbreakable. So moving around the map well, choosing their timings well, getting bonus kills as well. Only a single turret picked up by Kramer compared to kills and a turret for ROX Tigers. Trading up again and again and again. Really no good news stories to talk about on the side of Afreeca.
Yeah. Lava, 2-0-0 now as well on the rise. Was questioning to see, like, he was the man that was playing the Cork. He was playing the Galio first off. It was more of the unconventional picks that he was making look good, but Rise certainly has been at the right place at the right time. Creative Gang to start things off. I remember you talking about. And Songwon continuing to get rid of these Spires.
First Rise of the season, but definitely check marks for the early game, at least for Lava. Songwon put down the Rift Herald. He obtained much earlier. That should get a counter turret, although I have not seen the turret HP for the blue side bot lane outer just yet. But we can see Varus up top lane trying to smash down a turret himself.
Should be able to get that one done, but will mean Cannon Barrage is invested, but it's not going to be able to clear all of the minions, and this tower is certainly going to fall down. Might even get another charge for old Shelly on the bottom side of the map.
Cannon Barrage to at least take out the minion wave, otherwise it could have been 2 for 1 in turrets.
Yeah.
Want to decrease the speed, but also just clear some of those minions. Here is that second charge you alluded to.
Still a fair bit of extra damage with a Rage Blade Kog'Maw down there. Call the Forge God. Oh, flash out from Spirit is going to keep him alive. Spellflux there was really threatening Spirit, but Lava a decent amount of movement speed, and they haven't stopped. ROX Tigers wait for the next minion wave, take down the inner turret, and while Spirit is running away, he's going to lose everything. Outer turret in the mid lane, sort of the next option here for the ROX Tigers, but they've already got 3 turrets this game. 2,000 gold lead does mean that the Afreeca Freecs aren't going to be too worried as far as money, but like we saw last game, it's about map control.
And you might wonder, how were they able to so freely take the second turret bot lane after the back was already started by Kramer and Tucson? The answer is zombie wards. Remember that ROX Tigers had so much vision in the red side jungle 5 minutes ago. Surely that is timed out, but the zombie wards extending the amount of time they had vision meant that they could so safely walk up, know they weren't being flanked by anyone. They could read the situation. They had full information that in previous metas would not be available. They take a second turret. They trade up again. ROX Tigers, just like Afreeca in Game 1, are basically getting the lead at every single moment in the game.
Now Afreeca Freecs trying to move their bottom lane, which has been farming out extraordinarily well, getting to some good break points as far as item timings. Move that up, claim some Spires with it. And this outer turret in the mid lane that I mentioned was going to be threatened. He's going to be at least defended for the moment. 3 members moving down. On the back foot, but Afreeca Freecs do have a lot of scaling to them. We've talked about Azir a lot. We've talked about Varus in the late game, especially with the ability to switch over to something like an Infinity Edge for insane auto-attack damage. Consistent damage. Spirit going to get found out by Songwan. The Dazzle's going to stun him up, but they're not going to want to go too much further forward.
Scaling today hasn't necessarily been anything other than a dirty word. I felt like every time teams have opted into too much scaling, they've been well punished. So a couple of days ago, I would have been strapping in for 90 minutes and accepting that perhaps scaling would be the answer. It certainly could still happen here. But there's always the very real possibility that Afreeca keep finding a ROX Tigers team, making the right bets, keeping up their vision control, answering all the spires, and just spiraling a lead away from the Afreeca Freecs before they can ever truly be competitive. So far, they have been just as clean as Afreeca Freecs were in Game 1.
What's absolutely incredible to me is just the amount of information ROX have been able to get. So many wards. I mean, there's control wards everywhere for the Afreeca Freecs as well, but they're so defensive, as you can see. Even so, the vision that ROX have is oppressive. You can see that red ward just there. They've got a control ward in here as well. Cannon Barrage is going to deny the take of this turret, but we've never seen it used proactively. We've only ever seen reactive Cannon Barrages out of Keen so far. The Afreeca Freecs are just trying to bail water out of a sinking ship.
Does look like map hacks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is on 8.1 when there's full value out of the zombie wards at basically every minute in the game.
Black Sheep Wall, man.
Difficult for Afreeca to face check too often. The jungler doesn't have any real power in the 1v1, so he's being respectful. They're worried about Taric there with a Dazzle or the Orin coming in. They kind of need multiple members. They need to outnumber ROX Tigers even to contest vision. It means that more and more brush go unpathed through. The vision snowball only continues. Haven't really been able to talk about vision snowball that much, apart from control wards for a few years now. But with zombie wards especially, the snowball is pretty severe. Now we can see ROX Tigers so confident to walk in, put down some vision. Songwan walks up, not a care in the world. ROX Tigers, really good performance.
Yeah, it goes invisible, and I actually think that that ward didn't even spot him because he got into the brush before it went down. So that was a bit of a cute move. Songyu's going to be able to grab his red buff. Red's going to get exchanged. So Kramer actually doesn't manage to get his. It's Spirit still trying to triage himself back into this game. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was a steal away from Songwan. So both red buffs taken at exactly the same time. Don't mind me.
19 minutes into the game, you need multiple control wards just to control one side of the jungle for Afreeca. They control their blue. They control nothing about their red side jungle. And they can't even hope to go up the river or into enemy side of the map.
It's real scary. And the Afreeca Freecs had this kind of control 20 minutes into the game last time around. You were mentioning that, you know, side selection hasn't really been as much of a big deal, and I'm really starting to be a believer, Papa Smithy. And I also feel like as well, once the meta of a patch really gets figured out, it becomes, at the beginning, it's all about, I want to get this composition because it's going to be good, and at the end, there becomes this rock, paper, scissors, and once you identify what the blue side's trying to do, having the answers is what's important, and now those answers are there. Feels like ROX, they've been able to find the answer as well. Songwan certainly sorting that one out.
I mean, in Korea right now, we don't really have a champion you would say has to be 100% pick banned. You know,
no?
It's kind of a weird eccentricity. Thought for sure that would be the 80 carries earlier in the season, but more and more those have gone untouched. We've had Zoe games go through pick and bans. Recently, the Zoe's picking up, so let's see if after another week she's finally going to join what feels like a very delayed must pick or ban spot, but yeah, we just haven't had much reliability in terms of those picks, and that's usually a good sign. The rock, paper, scissors of the meta is slowly starting to get there.
Also a sign that there's nothing that's completely broken. It's generally when something has no counter, that's an issue.
I mean, Ryzen Azira certainly the closest we have to 100% pick ban. Gnar also another one that's up there, but does feel like even for those edge cases, there's been games where they've been snowballed on, even if their reliability largely has been there.
Well, right now, the Afreeca Freecs not actually looking to make proactive moves. Haven't seen an Impale. Spirit still just trying to catch up. Building what looks like just bits of items for the moment as well.
Yeah, he used one to his death on the turret dive and top side, but yeah, nothing resembling proactivity, and that one to no use. Very hard to get any value out of Predator this game as well, although they are getting some control wards. Credit to them actually controlling their blue side. Not to the Infernal though, going to be a freebie for the side of ROX Tigers. Huge scaling on that, of course. And all Afreeca can do is just try to clear Baron as much as possible. Continue to delay. That S word is still going to be used. Scaling, scaling, scaling. They're going to need another 10 minutes like the last 3 or 4 here. They're going to actually be in a position to use that scaling in a 5v5.
And can ROX Tigers actually utilize this vision and map control snowball that they have set up for themselves? 'Cause that's always our question. When teams aren't necessarily the top teams in the LCK, there have been issues with keeping the pressure on throughout the entire mid-game.
Well, ganking Rise is the idea right now.
Yep, and the Realm Mob should certainly be able to be there. Don't know whether I would have done that, Kuro, but that's going to be the Impale. Spirit's going to utilize it. Lava should get stunned, but no, he's just too fast. Oh, the slow! But no one's actually going to catch up. And he says, see you later, guys. I'm going to go back home.
That's a really bad feel. They couldn't get the last auto attack there. Vintage Skarner, you'd have to say. Gameplay ultimate used for wave clear. Probably not going to be enough. They're keeping a minion up with the teleport, but Sungyun's just holding onto the turret aggro for a long time.
Yeah, Home Guards are going to actually come in here as the Afreeca Freecs set themselves up as a unit, move their way forward, but Keen, you're not that strong yet on the gangplank, and the outer turret falls in the mid lane. So once again, ROX Tigers, pressure goes in, they grab what they can, and Linderong seems to just always be standing on top of that crystal spire.
But there's a good news story. I found one, Atlas.
Oh yeah, nice.
Gangplank up in CS. The gold lead small than expected because Gangplank's doing his thing.
Yep.
So at least CS-wise, no one is getting pummeled. 19 CS for the mid lane, about 8 jungle camps for the jungle. At the end of the day, Spirit has probably had the worst end of the early game after dropping the Skarner and not really being able to pull off much, but working his way towards a righteous glory. It's funny how 5 years later, Shirelia's reverie on the Skarner has been kind of recreated here, at least in the solo case.
Yeah, it just happens again. Like it, what goes around comes around. Void Staff now done for Kuro as well, so he's going to have a bit of mid-game damage. We'll have the 3-item spike with the Blade of the Ruin King done for Kramer, and as far as the mid-game Varus build, that's pretty much quintessential.
And when you get late enough into the game, there's this really interesting duality where you wouldn't think QSS on Taric or Ornn would be particularly viable, but in the late game, we get super carries. You know, we get Gangplank at 6 items, we get Varus at unbelievable item timings, and most people die during an Impale. You know, with enough focus fire, people die. So you get that awkward point where if you're Linderong, you have to actually ask the question of, am I pressured enough to pick up a QSS as Ornn? And then, as we know, that eats up an item slot. It doesn't really want a Mercurial Scimitar. So there will be some awkward thoughts if Afreeca can keep staying in touching distance. If it stays under 5,000 gold in 10 minutes, I think we really will have some interesting team fights to evaluate.
Well, speaking of team fights, I really want ROX to fight as soon as possible. They've got the 3 items on their Cogmore. He's extraordinarily strong. You can see demonstrated by his ability to take down those chickens. The Reindeer really needs to get into a team fight position where he can make things work, and there's so many threats on this ROX Tigers squad that they could start Baron, peel, and do some ridiculous things. The Afreeca Freecs try and contest. Afreeca, right now though, against the flow of play, actually have control of that Baron pit. So.
And a lot of it's some smart defensive vision. Remember, they couldn't go anywhere near their red buff. Suddenly, 3 control wards, looking a bit clearer there. Not necessarily in full control over their blue side, but they're not fully losing it either. So, at the end of the day, the ability to stabilize is something that, you know, we have to celebrate. There has been some degree of stabilization by the Afreeca Freecs. Whether it's in service of a victory or not, it'll take time to find out.
Well, Songwon's going to foil the plan. The little gank brush used to set up to punish anyone trying to get vision. See, a ton of pings onto that Baron, and you mentioned the fact that, you know, the Baron vision was there. Now, definitely not. Wards everywhere for the ROX Tigers. As Songwon, concussive blows, that's going to be scary as Key. He might be the pick-off option that they're looking for. No, Chains of Corruption just going to be ignored. And that is a decent cooldown. Cannot be utilized now by the Afreeca Freecs. Still trading down these situations. Kuro does need to be careful. It's a leaping Songwon. Get in there and get some work done. Okay, secured it. Gromp, done. There's the win.
I mean, little wins are relevant when Afreeca kind of have to brush camp and Wait to see what ROX is going to do. They've turned on to Baron, but they've got Sungwon tanking it. That's not the best.
Yeah, Tucson also just ran forward as there's a cannon barrage. Heal has to come out from Songyun, which is exactly what they don't want. The Afreeca Freecs, the denial of this is fantastic. I don't even know how he knew where to put it. It seems like Tucson just walking forward was enough to get vision of exactly the exit strategy that Songwon was utilizing.
You do not do a Baron bait unless Orin or Tarek are tanking the Baron. That doesn't work. That was a big failure there. They have great Baron damage with Songyun, but yep, Sungwon's not supposed to tank that one.
You gonna call that a whoopsie? We can call that one a whoopsie?
It was a strategic snafu.
I like it. As commentators, we are all about being able to say the same thing as many times as possible.
I mean, you know what?
I think
when you
whoopsie
cast
is probably the
every
lazy
single
one.
game of the LCK, some color points get repeated a few times, Atlas.
Yeah. But I've never been bored, Papa Smithy. You have a gift, my friend.
I really wish there was an automated program to work out what word I've said the most. It's probably something like scaling.
My old producer actually wanted to find one of those.
Scaling would be up there. You know, obviously there's going to be very certain words and trigger words, but scaling would be up there with this meta.
Scaling, forcing. You know, there's a lot of forcing that's been attempted, especially recently. Thankfully, not so much. I mean, ROX sort of tried to do it there, but today hasn't been a day of that. Today has been a day of strategic victories for a lot of our teams. It's the first time where we're seeing ROX have this lead and toil just a little bit.
And we've had shorter games. You know, we haven't had 45-minute plus games today. Largely have been the more clinical range. Teams have been able to close a lot cleaner. No Sivers running around to muddy the waters on that. Speaking of running around, Spirit is Turbo Scanner at this point. Doesn't need boots of mobility when he has Predator and the Righteous Glory.
He's gangbusters this stage of the game. Just not sure what he's running himself into. You know, it's great to be really fast, stuff like that, but you need to have a plan. And so far, Spirit has just straight up not had a plan.
And ROX Tigers have straight up not been able to move their map position for 10 minutes. You know, they were in.
Yeah, and look at this defensive control ward line. It's really good out of the Afreeca Freecs.
There were 3 from Afreeca in the red side jungle. They actually moved one of them. Didn't even have it cleared, so they've been able to cement that vision there. No longer are they worried about Kha'Zix leaping out. Kuro went from, level 12 no items to level 15 and quite a lot of items. Void Staff now completed to future-proof him a bit. First Ornn item completed on the man himself.
Yep.
For some immediate power and to also keep a control ward slot. And also doesn't want to sell off his stopwatch just yet.
The Mega Bissell mask coming in. Like it. Is that okay? Is that an okay one?
Sure.
Okay, good. You've given me some flack for my Ornn item references in the past. You are the dictator when it comes to the Ornn item names.
I mean, the only thing I dictate is that I refuse to look up the names. And also when people tell me the names, I insist on forgetting them because coming up with silly names for the Ornn items is really fun.
Yeah, it's the best part. Sorry for taking your thunder there, Bob.
That's okay. I got plenty of thunder to share. 6 days of thunder, Nobody wants that.
Oh, I do. I'm jealous. You have no idea. 2,000 gold still the lead, though. That lead has not changed or shrunk at all in what feels like a very, very long time. Baron was at least looked at by the Afreeca Freecs as they move around trying to get themselves into a position to grab a pick.
And ROX Tigers just don't know what to do because if you think about it, what is their force? When they're walking up, they're like, all right, they're going to try and defend vision, let's go. Ornn's not going to work because Braum is grouped now, so they can't just use the Ornn ultimate to initiate from afar. Realm Warp into the backline could get them all killed. That's also unfortunate. The side lanes, Keen is at least taking damage from Orange. That's good for the side of ROX Tigers, but that's about it.
The only control ward that they have in their inventory as well is on the Ornn, so he's the only one that can actually clear vision out in a more permanent way on the Baron. So all of that vision that Afreeca have, I mean, they're waiting on sweepers. You've got Songwon that can get in there. He's going to have to. So far, Afreeca Freecs not being forced into anything.
I think sweepers is important, though, because they only have 2. I feel like they need many more than that because their force is no longer get a pick. Their force is turn off Baron. That's kind of what they need to do. And they don't even have enough sweepers to even guarantee that or control wards. So nice that you brought up that particular word because for now it feels like ROX is mismanaging what was supreme map control. We were saying that at 19 minutes, Afreeca couldn't enter their bot lane jungle. They could just get Wolves, Gromp, and maybe their blue buff, nothing else on the map. And now, red side jungle's been easy for a long time. Baron buff defense has been happening for the better part of 12 minutes. They have supplanted themselves in a way that the best teams should be able to take advantage of, and ROX want to be one of those best teams as they're getting creative with the Baron start. Very creative.
Yep, Sangyun just hanging out behind it. Okay, pings are coming in though. They're not buying it, are the Afreeca Freecs. Tucson's going to come in and see that the purple guy's getting stabbed in the back. Is the Dazzle going to find it? No, in fact, I'm not entirely sure how that didn't quite work. There's the Glacial Fissure, just trying to break off the members of ROX's Spirit. He's booking it! He's found Lava! Can they actually get the damage in the Emperor's Divide? But, yeah, he's got his onions.
You got too excited there, Atlas.
Yeah.
I almost said Achilles, but Atlas, don't get too excited.
But, I mean, I thought maybe they could kill him in time. The Unbreakable's there, though. No Ornn ult to be had. The Ram was foiled. Song1 could be in trouble. Kuro shifting sands, but doesn't get far enough.
He's been practicing his drifting. It's gotten better since last time we saw him.
Yeah. Well, no Zhonya's option for Lava for the next couple of minutes. I mean, maybe that's going to be worth it. But he didn't use any summoner spells. Got everything still available. Thankfully, no investment on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, and we've almost got Impale back up as well.
Yeah,
so
shot cooldown
maybe
reduction.
not too much of a problem.
It felt like action. It was exciting in action, it turned out to be.
I had a great time on the show.
Maybe we are overdue for our 50-minute siesta.
Yeah, I haven't had one, really. It's always Achilles that gets all of the crazy ones.
Oh, trust me, I'm not upset about that. If we can just isolate the fiestas to only Achilles, it would make my life a lot more predictable. Wouldn't make any dinner plans on days when I'm casting with him.
Oh dear. Although we have in the past.
I know. A lot of chicken wings missed out on. Feels bad now.
Well, also a lot of chicken wing places being kept open by yours truly and our good friend Mr. Wolf Schroeder. So don't worry, you got friends keeping the places available.
That is very specific knowledge that 4 people watching the stream will appreciate, but okay. I was trying to keep it inclusive. You went full exclusive.
It's not exclusive. We were just sharing a bit of information about our lives, Papa Smithy. I think that's okay.
What's okay right now is that Song1 is trying his best, trying his darndest to be as relevant as he was in the first 15 minutes, and you know,
that's hard.
So hard to do. As Kha'Zix's item build was looking nice and sick, but now Black Cleaver, he had to go the QSS so that he can actually clear vision and not die. And the awkward thing there, and the gold lead, it was 2,000, what, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
It's 1,000 now, so that's certainly gotten away from them as Keen is trying to be taken out.
That's called the do-si-do, boys and girls. Keen just wanders up and gets back to his team. Everything's fine. I believe that was a smite. Lock that one down. Lava actually taking a lot of damage here from Keen in the fight. It's on. The Ornn ultimate comes in, and Kuro is going to lock down the first one. A 4-man knockup with the Call of the Forge God.
Doesn't matter.
But he just creates enough space. Cannon Barrage is there. And with one pick onto Key, is that going to be enough for the Afreeca Freecs to try and move forward and get more out of this one? I feel like they've just waited long enough, and ROX have not utilized their lead at all in the last 10 to 15 minutes.
You've got it down, Atlas. Great color commentary there. Unfortunately for ROX, they had so much of a lead. They mismanaged it. Their investments did not pay off. Spirit understands that anyone without a QSS, with 5 members, it doesn't matter how much tank stats you have, you will die. And now Afreeca, if anything, they're 300 gold away from the gold lead.
Yeah. In fact, clearing out that minion wave almost got them there. Okay, we're looking at item timings here as well. I mean, we were talking about Sangyun having a great position, but then they didn't force any fights. We've got a 50 CS lead now for Kramer, who has his Guardian Angel. Going to be buying a full item because that Relic Shield's so incredibly strong to hold onto with the Overshields and all of that stuff, but he's got a GA. Kramer's not going to be jumped on and assassinated by someone like Sangyun at all, and even more so is he irrelevant. It's, oh my god, Tucson almost did it.
That was well read by ROX Tigers, though. They kept their smite in the mid lane. Just had 2 members solo down the Infernal, so they get a nice combat-ready Drake for free.
Yep, that's 4 as well, so if they get the Elder Drake later on, which is going to be our next dragon, that's going to be a scary prospect.
But it is awkward. Their best map movement was kind of against the run of play 16 minutes after they held all the cards. You know, they literally were the dealer. They had every option as the poker dealer here, and instead just took a siesta. And that siesta has led to 12 minutes, 15 minutes later, Afreeca ready to go. Team fight ready, happy to turn on anyone. No QSS on Taric, no QSS on Ornn. Shouldn't be relevant, but right now is super relevant.
Yep. Scary times. And Keen, despite having a rough one earlier on, he's feeling brilliant. Mortal Reminder is done. Not a lot of healing available now, and if he can get a shot onto Sangyun, it's going to be pretty fun to deny a lot of that sustain that all of his items have been able to offer him. Not a lot as far as what we can see, but that Relic Shield still able to help him out.
Kuro's a sweet hat short of basically being fully decked out on the Azir. Very relevant for 36 minutes, but no death cap. It's going to be a bit of a frustration there, about 50 CS down on his lane opponent.
Of course, wanting to keep a slot open for the control ward as well, so we'll be able to go back and sell that ring, grab himself something.
To be pleased to know, the first person to 6 items is the Gangplank.
Of course. Oh god, was that an outright GA?
It's an outright a lot of things, because he's ahead in gold. Ahead in gold, of course, but ahead in CS even, because Orin, while we've seen windows where he can punish the Gangplank, can't actually deny him anything. And the kill pressure was only there when someone was diving his lane the better part of 32 minutes ago.
Yep. It's the most fun when you can start just freely barreling all of these minion waves.
Bit of a brawler build, no Infinity Edge at the moment.
Yeah.
But the Infinity Edge is becoming more and more important. I always thought it was, a luxury item in previous days, but when there's hyper carries and everyone's a super tank, fitting it into the build somewhere, I think, is important. No Phantom Dancer item here either, so we might just see a rearrangement later with the Yomus and the Guardian Angels being sold, depending on how things go.
With how the games have been going, I mean, you almost need to factor in 8 full items because of how much gold a lot of our teams have been getting. So why I think Varus is so strong, because he can be fantastic in the late game with 6 items including crit and does hyper carry damage, but has this mid-game based build with the Wit's End that he can get rid of. Songwon in potential trouble. It's the Afreeca Freecs. This is a complete 360 of what the rest of the mid-game was, because now we've got Turbo Skarner threatening onto the ROX Tigers, when before it was triage. It was completely just Afreeca Freecs standing on the back foot, just trying to get away from ROX, and they did so. ROX haven't been able to get anything done.
Now, the downside of the fact that Afreeca now have control of the game is they don't really have a do-something comp either. Skarner running straight at someone doesn't work in almost any scenario, and they're not able to actually get vision leads. They're just able to control vision. We're not going to see any ult flashes from Kramer, so we are primed for the 60-minute dream.
All right. Settling in.
Everyone now is very good at not dying and not doing anything.
Whoa, Sangyun is very good at doing a hell of a lot of damage, though, because that's an Infinity Edge that he bought outright.
We can just rush the Baron, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to move straight over to it, and if Sangyun can get the work done, Kuro, great position, Cannon Barrage, perfect opportunity, Spirit moves in, not going to be able to get the Baron, but can they actually pick up the kills? Cosmic Radiance says hell no. There's Kuro, he's still able to do damage.
Watch
Kramer
this, though.
Standing in exactly the right position, but if Sangyun is going to be able to get anything done, that's what they need to do. They're stuck in the pit, it's the Thunderdome. Right now is Lava, nothing he can do. Kramer, is he going to be alright? He's just going to go down to his Guardian Angel. Sangyun gets in there, but the auto attacks from the Sand Soldiers, the exhaust is in there. Songwon gets over the top, it's a double kill, make it a triple, no! It's not going to happen! The Gangplank just shoots him in the face, and now it's a 3 versus 2. Kramer running for the hills. We got the same thing for Keen. That was a much closer fight, but the Baron, most importantly, goes to ROX.
You've never seen a standoff like that in the Baron pit after the Baron was
Without
dead.
just Mundo versus Mundo,
Exactly,
you know?
just insane stuff happening there. Does go the way of the ROX Tigers. After all of this, we just have a smite battle. It ends up being a 50-50 in the end after all of it. Songwon does complete the smite. They had control of the pit for a moment. The Baron is taken, but take a step back after the initial damage to appreciate what's happening here. 4 members sitting in the Baron, unable to get out, flashing just to open up space. No one can kill each other. No one can run past the Sand Soldiers. That is a hilarious interaction to have. The stare down of 9 people. Eventually it bursts into action. Sangyun able to use his Guardian Angel. Kramer as well. Tried to put out big damage. I think the big hero here on the side of the ROX Tigers was their mid laner Lava, who's doing a lot of damage over the wall on Rise, even before the true commitment happened. ROX get the Baron, the smite is true. Maybe that'll be enough to actually advance their position. They haven't been able to do for 22 minutes.
Yeah, they took 4 turrets. Oh, well, they took 3 turrets very, very quickly, and then all they could do in 20 minutes of play was take down the outer turret. Now with a Baron, you'd think that pushing is something that they'd be more capable of. There's a Molten Edge on Sang-Yoon. Unfortunately, that's one of the names that I do know.
What'd you say, sorry?
Never mind.
Okay.
Well, Lord Dominic's Regard is actually the option that Kramer goes for when he sells his Relic Shield. So remember, AD carries, it was a clear advantage for Sang-Yoon last time. Great item timing in order to get towards that Baron and win that fight.
Minion waves pushing in pretty heavily in the bot side. Elder Dragon would be obviously of massive value to the ROX Tigers.
Kuro does some massive damage. Thankfully now the Afreeca Freecs do a lot of work with a lot of their poke. I mean, when these Sand Soldiers get out there, they are doing massive things. This is definitely worth a steal attempt on the side of Spirit, but they do not want to commit to any fight after this. There's the Realm Warp. Interesting. Okay, can they actually steal away the Elder Dragon? It's going to go down. Massive knock-up. And that is going to be the secure. Songwon gets in. Can he actually launch his way into a good position? As the Ram, not going to get it. And there's the Realm Warp. 3 members. They're looking for Kuro, but they're not going to be able to find him. Redemption heals them all back up. The ROX Tigers can't find a pick.
They may be kited out, but Afreeca still have to respect now effectively 3 Infernal Drakes worth of buff. 24%. Maybe rocking there. And also just the fact that Baron buff is still there for 5 seconds. It's very difficult to contest here. Baron may go down, but there's sheer damage. Everyone's an artillery if they're laying down damage. This sort of thing where a Kog'Maw ult proccing the true damage can be so relevant on the siege. Ults are still down for Afreeca. They won't lose their base, but 2 big buffs to ROX Tigers.
Yeah. Leave no more Baron just yet. Took a little long on the Elder Dragon, but a minute and a half in order to utilize the Elder. But battening down the hatches is what the Afreeca Freecs have been doing this whole time.
I know this is a pretty on-the-nose reference, but I think that the Gangplank changes need to come in, and finally he agrees. He battens down the hatches and gets an Infinity Edge. Desperately needs that.
Yep.
I think a Phantom Dancer should come in somewhere there as well to have more critical strike. But it was a very low damage build from Keen that has become kind of outdated. It feels like 1 crit item, usually Phantom Dancer into Infinity Edge, is the new requirement in these very, very ultra late game fights. Wasn't there for the last fight, is there now.
And also, it's an awkward Varus build as well, because if he sells the Wit's End for an Infinity Edge, that's Infinity Edge on 20% crit, which is not exactly what you want. Oh, actually no, he's got a Hurricane now, so that was the decision that he's made.
I mean, selling Guardian Angel at this point is fine because you're losing the game if you pop Guardian Angel, most likely. Can also buy it later. He is decked out and wants to get more power for his item slots, so he will be sticking with a no Infinity Edge build. His only kind of solace there is that only Linderung has real armor. Taric going to be helping out, but Taric largely about the Cosmic Radiance.
Yep. Lava's got his Ultra Witch's hat.
Super Cap.
Yep. Oh, Super Cap, I like that. Spires being taken advantage of, and ROX have everything at their disposal. Finally, it's a noteworthy gold lead, now that the gold is practically irrelevant.
2 QSSs on Kha'Zix and Kog'Maw, upgraded to the Mercurial Scimitar, so good options here for Spirit if he can actually get a priority target with the ultimate. Taric will be one of the best ones to try and burst him before Cosmic Radiance can possibly arm.
Yep. Also deny the Ardent Sensor that he's got sitting in his back pocket. Don't want Sang-Yoon to be too brutally massive. Spirit laying in wait, but this red buff not going to be something that the Afreeca Freecs can contest. And Songwon, okay, immediately uses Mercurial Scimitar, but there was absolutely no impale there at all.
Yeah, the 1.5 second stun enough to actually draw out the QSS, so now there's 4 targets.
Yeah.
They're looking pretty juicy on the side of ROX Tigers. Elder Dragon has gone away as well, so they lose out on 8% AD and AP, and maybe more crucially, plenty of true damage on any ability order.
40 seconds until the Baron. 6 items now for Kuro as he heads back to base.
The Baron's
on his
setup,
hourglass.
the Baron's setup's not really there from the ROX Tigers. They've been more focused on trying to push up the map. So usually at this point, with 40 seconds to go, you'd want to control the Spire on the blue side. You want to get down so much spotting vision. They have a little bit, but some of it is just going to be zombie wards, and it's pretty shallow. They don't have full information of the plans from the side of Afreeca, and with Baron set up to be theirs, they need a bit better.
Well, A lot of vision now being put down, at least the top side. Afreeca's blue side jungle. Guardian Angel still available for Song 1, but you can see Mercurial Scimitar, that's the cooldown that the Afreeca Freecs are trying to track.
Everyone has an Orin item except for the Kha'Zix, who doesn't have anything he wants to opt into there. Probably going to be the Black Cleaver, I guess, eventually, but it's... The health in AD is, you know, not a super high thing right now, so probably smart to work on the elixirs and just try to help out the team.
Yep. Spirit wanting to grab himself a spy. Does get it. Could actually be an opportunity here, as there is the Essence Reaver. Done for Keen. This is a well and truly late game gangplank. If you get hit by a barrel, you're probably dead.
Speaking of Essence Reaver, also taken by Sungyun, who went back and now has lower attack speed, very low attack speed, but a lot of AD.
Also has a lot of ability to get his mana back, as oh my god, the Afreeca Freecs, they are going to be able to lock down the Baron. Chains of Corruption for disengage, as Songwon's trying to get them. Redemption comes in, flashes, just to try and get them out of there, and that barrel did so much work. Lava suffering. Linderung wants to get this work done. Sun Turret comes in, Realm Warp, and the Cosmic Radiance is there, but it's a really good Emperor's Divide. In comes the Ram, but it's not enough. The Impale and Kramer locks down the Ornn. See you later, Rise. That's the double. The Afreeca Freecs, they've got a Baron and they've got 2 picks.
That was a sick outplay, putting down both the Sun Turret and the ultimate there from the Azir. Meant no one could actually get there to gap close. They just turned onto Linderung for free. The Impale so useful in that case. They get a second kill as well. That was huge from Afreeca.
And Keen does a bajillion damage per auto attack or barrel. These turrets are getting ripped apart. And there is no frontline to try and defend this. There's 2 cannon creeps. We've got 30 plus seconds on both solos. Look at these structures die, Papa Smithy.
I think the game's just over.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that the ROX Tigers can actually defend this. 48 minutes, it's nowhere near like one of the other marathons that we've had. Can the Afreeca Freecs actually make it towards these turrets? It looks like probably not.
They're not willing to commit, surprisingly. Spirit doesn't get in range. That's pretty big. That's going to delay it. This could have been the game ending. I have a feeling that if they'd really gone for it with Azir and also the Varus, they would have been able to end. But a lot of respect shown for the Afreeca Freecs. They've been in these scenarios recently. But just take a step back to appreciate how good this is from Kuro. Between the Sand Soldiers and the turret, 4 people are screwed. They can't get there to help out Linderung. They kill Lava as well. Turns it on its head and then some. Huge from the Azir.
Absolutely incredible. And we said, you know, Kuro has been up and down, back and forth on the Azir. This has been a great performance, though. Go and buy your last item, mate. You definitely deserve it. And it's going to be the Banshee's Veil. Thought might possibly be Azonya's, but no, Banshee's is going to be the option. Doesn't want to get picked off. Does mean that Kuro does a hell of a lot of damage. 6-item Azir is ridiculous. Everyone knows about it.
This game has been ridiculous. It's going to hit 50 minutes. It hasn't been high quality. I think ROX Tigers' first 15 to 19 minutes were excellent, but from there, they just messed up, couldn't close the game. We've had 2 50-50 Barons, which we almost never see in Korea, but the teams are kind of saying, well, screw it, this might speed up the game. Let's try something. So we've definitely gone to the casino a bit in this game, too much. Usually says that teams just aren't really thinking about how to set up and how to really get an advantage and force the sort of low-risk, high-reward plays we so often see in Korea. Feels like the last fight might see a moment of inspiration, like from Kuro in the last fight, that would decide the game, but Afreeca Freecs still have the Baron buff for 35 seconds.
And what the massive insult to me is look at how much vision prep there was done by the ROX Tigers. All of that blue side vision on the side of the Afreeca Freecs is completely irrelevant now, and there's so many wards. A lot of them, of course, zombies, but so many of them. And now the Afreeca Freecs move all the way past it. They've got control now of the blue side jungle of the ROX Tigers, and Cannon Barrage does way too much damage to Sangyu. They have to use the Empowered Redemption. Cannon Barrage still there, but they do break open this inhibitor turret, and that was only with 3 members of the Afreeca Freecs. If Keen lands a barrel, I just think that ROX can't fight anymore.
Does unbelievable damage.
Just disgusting damage.
Decent wave clear, but you get the extra damage to champions. It crits, and goodbye health bars on the side of ROX Tigers. That's 2 inhibitors down.
Guess what, Papa Smithy? We've got a gold lead for the Afreeca Freecs. It's finally happened. They've pulled ahead. It's 300. Gold means nothing, but it's still there. This really is a courageous effort. Afreeca probably, if they are actually able to close this one out, will feel fantastic being able to lock down the extra points. And also after that match against KSV, getting redemption. Oh my god.
But imagine being Captain Flowers, watching the VOD, seeing, oh, Skarner's locked in. LCK Skarner, 100% win rate. Let me check that out. Yeah, Skarner really important in this game.
Oh yeah, he was super important
Oh,
in
the
this
early
game.
game. Wow, what great
The
pathing.
plays.
Pathing back to the death chamber, pathing to the cramp that he couldn't take.
His item build was fantastic as well. Certainly not vintage Skarner from months ago. It's the brand new Skarner that everyone's talking about with Frostfang and stuff. Oh wait, no, hang on a second. No, it's not. It's just the same.
Well, Spirit, you know, his ult's really good in the late game. He's got that going for him, everything else.
Yeah.
Also, the Q-Max was bizarre.
Yeah.
E-Max is, I think, in my opinion at least, better in every scenario, so don't know what was going on there with the Skarner, but it might win. Hooray!
Yeah, we can't really doubt him, can we?
I mean, we can, but there'll definitely be people who say, but it won, and, you know, that's one way to argue.
I feel like there's a yes and waiting there. Is someone? Be careful, buddy. One auto attack from the Sand Soldier, doing way too much damage to the very squishy Kha'Zix.
Oh, that's
okay. Special delivery! He's a tank, but he's not that much of a tank. Kuro gonna lock it down. No one can follow up. Cosmic Radiance.
Baby!
Oh, gonna get popped out. See you later, Songyun. This should be the end of the game. There's too much damage on this Afreeca Freecs lineup. Just run it up mid, boys. I think you've waited long enough.
And Sungwon seems to accept that. Just jumps in. He's like, hey, I'm gonna die now. Goodbye, cruel world.
Yep.
I played so well.
Didn't
And
I?
it didn't even matter.
If only I did something for the last 30 minutes.
Why did he suicide?
I don't know. Lava's doing the same thing. It's like, we all go down together, or something like that.
He forgot the realm. He didn't have one.
Don't worry, he realm walked. Just straight to the death chamber.
You know,
He knows what he wants to do.
If you're gonna go down on your back, why not do it golden, Atlas?
Exactly. Absolutely stunning. The Afreeca Freecs, they hold on, they wait. There was a gold lead for ROX Tigers for what felt like an eternity, but they're still going to pick up the 2-0. A long game, but we've got back-to-back 2-0s.
Well, that's how the night ends, with a fiesta, a really bad fiesta. Very nice early game, a lot to learn about how to shut down a Skarner. And then they just forgot, you know, they forgot how to win. Did the ROX Tigers had a great run. Remember, they were 2 match wins in a row and looking for a third. But the Afreeca Freecs, let's talk about them. Because in game 1, they got the lead, they won the game, good stuff there. In game 2, another mental toughness situation, whereas the Skarner especially, you're putting your hands up and saying, well, I really can't do anything. I have no jungle control, my lanes aren't in a great spot, but they stayed strong. The mental resilience will help them a lot as the year goes on. So credit to Afreeca Freecs. For ROX Tigers, a lot to like about the early game of game 2. Really a lot to like. That was very well played. They tried the wombo in game 1. That was found wanting. Game 2, the VOD review, I think they will learn from, but bit of a bizarre game 2 does mean that we do end ourselves with a 2-0 night. Certainly not in the way that we expected as things started.
Yeah, it was looking like it was going to be certainly the win for the ROX Tigers, but it was utilization of what this composition was able to do and extraordinary amounts of damage as well.
And my 20-minute prophecy of there's eventually a time when no one is tanky to an Impale. Ornn had every tank item, but it doesn't matter when Azir and Varus have 6+ items and just run at you and kill you. You die during the Impale. So the Ornn died, the Kha'Zix, yeah, I don't know what's going on for Sungwon. It's just terrible, but
maybe he thought that he could do heaps more
his
damage.
KDA was pretty good before the start of this series.
I know.
And he was like, here you go. That was bad, but you know, nothing was going to change anything for the ROX Tigers. I think they're sticking around and proxying a later wave might have been smarter, but to the Death Chamber he went. To the Death Chamber do ROX Tigers' hopes of going 2-0 this week. Smiles abound. Still work to be done for Afreeca, but 2-2 with the schedule they've had a rough one. You know, they've faced 3 of the best teams in the league. There's only a couple more contenders for them to face. Now might be the time for the win streak for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, and also taking the wind out of the sails of the ROX Tigers as well. They were on a bit of a streak themselves, being able to grab the BQ Oliver's victory. 2-1, of course, and then Kongdu Monster as well. It's no mean feat. It's feeling like we are having a compression of the skill level of a lot of these teams. So, certain shout-outs to the ROX Tigers, but this was certainly not their day. The Afreeca Freecs showing us why we were, the opening of the season, pretty excited about the Afreeca Freecs.
Definitely in game 1. Game 2, they should have lost. They got crushed, and then suddenly the game went 53 minutes.
How did we last that long and Spirit only did almost 3,000 damage?
I mean, 400 damage Skarner was a famous Kakao meme, and I guess we're keeping it Korean here with
okay, nice.
no damage Skarners. And it's because, well, he ulted a couple of times and, you know, ran around as a lobster in the jungle. I mean, what are you to do as a Scorpion?
I never saw his boots on cooldown either.
It was a funny old game, Atlas.
It was a game. It certainly was a lot of fun, but the players that we really should be talking about are certainly the likes of Kuro, who had a good game on the Azir. This time, MVP. It is going to go once again to the MVP master himself.
Not to Snowflower.
That's, yeah.
He's not in the league anymore.
That is certainly a picture of Kuro.
I feel like we're trolling
So I'm pretty sure.
This is pretty funny.
What?
Afreeca hasn't had Snowflower for a couple of years. Thanks, OGN. Just trying to keep us honest. As Snowflower is dominating.
God. He's doing so well.
He's in the TCL. How's he doing it?
I don't know.
Well, let's talk about what actually happened in the game. We're starting at 30 minutes in, I guess, for some reason, skipping over the fact that nothing happened previously and there was nothing to show for from Kuro. But
wasn't a lot of good things for Afreeca Freecs
this
early.
Thunderdome situation was really funny because the Baron was dead, but no one could escape. So we got the standoff that ROX Tigers won, and we were, all right, ROX Tigers, you got this game. Things are going to go well. Well, the game went a lot longer than this. And this was the big play.
This was the moment, yeah.
The turret into the ultimate. Sorry, ROX have nowhere to go. They don't want to go forward. A huge barrel explosion as well. Chunked out multiple members, Lava and Sungyun, losing 700 health each. A nice turn. But unfortunately, you know, for us true analysts, game was decided on 250-50 Barons, which doesn't say good things about the macro of the game. And macro was good for game one. For Afreeca, they fell behind. It all turned into a fiesta, but they won it, so I guess congrats.
The most caveats in a congratulations I think I've ever heard in my entire life. But this was definitely not part of the highlight reel. The I will go down the golden boy, says Lava, and that is certainly the end of the game. Keen had that one on his mind. And Kuro going to even things out with Teddy at the top of the table of MVPs for another season.
I just want to hear from Snowflower and Snowflower at the MVP interview.
Well, I think we'll have an opportunity to throw it over to our good friend Joel. Time to get the Discord connected for our interview with said Snowflower and Snowflower. Or just Kuro, depending on which one.
Thank you very much, guys. This is your last interview translation of the day. We do have Snowflower as our interview winner for both of the games, and Kuro. We're going to have our last interview of the day with him. Every time Afreeca wins, it just seems like your interview is up in the air. I mean, it's really due to my teammates doing their parts, really getting the win. I feel like I'm getting a little more credit sometimes. Of course, but I still don't mind getting the MVPs. I would like to have all of them if I can.
내가 만든 게 맞다. 뭐 이런 이야기인 것 같아요. 오늘 사실 첫 번째 매치도 그렇고 두 번째 매치도 그렇고.
Today's match is all together.
불리하게 시작을 했단 말이에요.
You guys really started off by giving off kills and thought that you guys might be behind for most of the matches and it would have been hard to come back, but and you did go with Corky in the first match. But how did you feel about that pick? I wanted to play something different personally, but the coaching staff recommended Corky in that instance, and that's so I had to follow that order, and it turned out to be that way. And we were kind of surprised that Rise actually went to top here instead of the mid lane. We actually wanted to use this strategy against Kingzone, but the situation really opened up for itself, and we had to use it because it was available. In the first set, is where Corky made the biggest impact. Was one of the highlights that we could show here. And yeah, Brown was really doing well with getting all the stopwatches intact, and I think that was really important here. I think we can show which play we were talking about here. Yeah, I think Tusin did a very good job here. And a lot of people lot of people talked about, you know, how Tusin's stopwatch was the key MVP here in this play.
때문에 견적내기 좀 힘들지 않으세요?
아 이게 초반 좋냐라는 게 좀 너무 사기라서.
I think, you know, to be honest, having the Zhonya that early in the game does make it a little overpowered, but, you know, gotta make use of it while it's available.
이 정글 스카너가 어떤 의도로 혹시
And of course, we did see the jungle Skarner, and what did that mean for your team?
상대방들이 수은을 가잖아요.
예.
I mean, Skarner is really similar to Malzahar, where once that champion does come out, all your opponents have to go with the QSS and makes their overall power level weaker, and it served a very similar purpose with that pick for us.
선수도 확실히 저 개인적으로는 또 이게 룬에 대해서도 되게 재밌다고 생각했거든요.
And we thought that the rune choices for Skarner in itself
되게 많이 하고
was pretty unique for me personally, and
거기에 대해서 되게 좋다라고 이렇게 많이.
and of course, I'm sure he did a lot of studies and felt like today's runes that he went with was best choice.
하더라고요. 저희도 좋아 보였고.
You know, he thought that, you know, of the many that he tested, that this was the best one to go, and we agreed as well.
이야기 또 계속해서 하자면 상대가 사실 오브젝트를 다 가져갔어요.
And second game was kind of a unique situation where the opponents took basically every objective and seemed like they had so much power. You know, we always counted on our late game because the champions that we had and the composition we had were definitely stronger in the late game, so we definitely had hope that if we can hold on, we would have been better.
다 아이템들도 나오고 그래도 이길 거라는 확신 같은 게 있으셨어요?
Did you have all the confidence in the world that you could still win out in the late game? I mean, all you need is Azir. Azir late game, really, that's all you need to talk about, and it does beat out a lot of things in late game.
교전 장면이 준비돼 있다고 하는데
We have another highlight of game 2. Might have been the most important fight that decided the game. Isn't it scary when your opponent rushes in like that?
저희가 앞라인 오는 속도는 저희가 더 빠르단 말이에요. 타리콘 한 번만 버티면.
And right now, it's just like all about getting that Taric ult done, and once that rotation goes about, we get much stronger and we are able to do a lot more.
사실 지난
So we were trying to be patient for most of the part.
워낙 또 아프리카 입장에서 조금 좀 걸릴 수 있는 오늘 경기까지 사실 영향을 미칠 수 있는 그런 좀
And we thought that, you know, this past match that could have heavily affected your game for today. How do you feel about that?
시간을 가졌고요.
Yeah, after that last loss, we took a deep moment to talk over it quite seriously with our teammates.
이제 우리는 더 잘해서 롤드컵 가자.
And, you know, we decided to just forget about that game and just think about the future, and trying to go to World Championship became our next goal, trying to get the wins right after that loss.
대진 자체가 좀 상대적으로 강팀과 맞붙고 있다. 그런 평가들이 있는데
People do say that Afreeca are facing a lot of tougher opponents in these early matches in the season.
장난 삼아 4강 중 세 팀이잖아요. 그래서
You know, we do say that we are part of the
하고 나머지 다
top
이기면
4,
이깁니다.
but, you know, I think we can say that
하는
if we're able to beat some of these teams, that our power level in the league does rise to a level that we wanted to.
그래서 KT를 잡고 이제 1승 2패다.
And of course, you know, getting a win with KT, and, you know, we can still lose to some of these teams, but we're still up there. And KSV was essentially a win for us, but, you know, losing out like that was very disappointing for sure.
시작된다라고 했지만 또 워낙 아깝게 또 패배를 해서 그런
Of course, you talked about these close losses that you could have been turned around definitely in your favor.
그러면 이번 시즌
But going into this season, would you like to talk to us about your personal goals for the season?
좀 강팀을 앞에서 다 만났는데
We did meet a lot of the stronger teams early in the season, but
조금 승리를 조금
we want to collect some wins in these future matches that will be against the lesser of the teams in the LCK.
1승 2패 가능하다고 보입니다.
I think we can say that we can, if we do well enough, we can win most of the games that are coming up in the future. So we just continue to ask you to support for us. And that is the end of the interview. Not Snowflower, but it will be Kuro for Afreeca Freecs. We will send it over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Great to see what Snowflower had to say. No, of course, fantastic to hear from Kuro. Good to know that, you know, they're still back in high spirits after what was a difficult loss prior to this game. But a 2-0 Doesn't matter how it happened, Papa Smithy. It was a 2-0 nonetheless.
There ain't no asterisks on the scorecard. It's 2-0.
Yeah.
They won both games. Great stuff.
That's the deep analysis from your old mate, Papa Smithy.
You want some more analysis? They're
Yeah.
now at a 0 game score. So that's kind of getting them back from what was some difficult -2s and -1s against the big ones. And the schedule has to get easier in the first round robin for the Afreeca Freecs. So when I was asked who will be the top 5, I said KT, KSV, Kingzone, SKT. And I said it's normally a top 4, but I felt like it could be 4+1. I thought Afreeca could actually get into that top catchment. I'm still not sure if I was correct on that, but good to see Afreeca beating opposition they should take out tomorrow over at the Gangnam Stadium. Actually, no, we're ignoring tomorrow.
We're going to ignore tomorrow. We don't have it
There's 2
tomorrow,
match
Papa
days
Smithy.
before this, but we're at OGN, so we ignore.
Yeah, exactly.
We ignore those ones. Kingzone Dragon X versus ROX Tigers next Wednesday. That's ages from now. Afreeca Freecs versus BBQ, though. We'll see if Afreeca can keep on the winning streak they're on right now.
Yeah, and you skipped over Kingzone because they're looking ridiculously dominant at the moment. Another budget telecom war, though, to come in on
nice
Thursday.
one,
And KT Rolster versus Jinner. I'm looking forward to that so much. And we'll be able to see just how far the mighty have fallen with MVP taking on SK Telecom T1. Can MVP manage to kick them when they're down? That could be an opportunity.
We've skipped so many match days. This is a million days in the future. But next week at some point we will have these games.
Kingzone versus Kongdu Monster, which is going to be the ultimate test for Kongdu Monster and KSV versus BBQ Olivers. Of course, other games in there, so we will get some extra information, and that's going to be with your mate, Papa Smithy, and and Valdez.
Why can't we show the game
I don't
schedule?
know. It just makes things really confusing because it just looks like, oh, and then we're going to have this one team not play, like, at all, I guess.
Jinner actually plays 3 games before that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Oh, good
It's a
times.
funny old video gaming world. Here at
is.
OGN, we're doing our best. It's been a fun week. My 6 days, 5 down now. So
Exactly, only one more to
day
go.
before I
Brendan
get-
gets to see you out.
Before I get my exquisitely long 1-day break. Life's good, OGN Legion.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Papa Smithy, and thank you guys so much at home, OGN Legion. We are going to call it for today, but he will see you tomorrow for yet more LCK action. Good night.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun.